What we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. And I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. Oh wow, what a wonderful evening today is again. Welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. This has been brought to you courtesy the Shepherd's Flock International Church, and our conversation on defeating diabetes has been awesome, I believe. The tips we've been sharing, I believe, have also been very, very useful, and I believe that those who are diabetic are already putting into practice some of the things we are sharing. And you will begin to see amazing results as you put these things into practice. I have with me today, again, to continue this discourse on defeating diabetes, Dr. Melody Akinyemi. You're welcome to the studios again today.
Thank you very much.
And by the way, how did you find the demos we did for you last week? We want to get your feedback right in the chat room right now. Please type it in and type it in and type it in. Let's get your feedback.
Let's know if you've tried out any of the recipes and how did you go?
Yeah, if you've tried it out and you have questions, post the questions. If you have comments, any kind of feedback, we'd like to know. I told you last week also that we will be collating all your questions and we're going to set aside a whole episode to answer all of those questions. Now, by the way, let me tell you this up front. Once you start implementing some of these recipes on this plan that we have been suggesting, you will notice that your blood sugar will start crashing. So you need to start monitoring your blood sugar on a daily basis so that it doesn't go too low when you use it in combination with your diabetic drugs. Okay, because we do not advise you to stop using your diabetic medications abruptly. You may still have to continue to use them while you are transitioning into this diet, but then you keep an eye on your blood glucose. You keep checking it every day with your glucometer, and as you see it dropping and dropping and dropping, you keep recording it, and then you take it to your physician so that you can work it out and say, hey, my blood sugar this morning was 75. Do you still think I should be taking this metformin or glucophage or any other kind of blood sugar medication that you are taking? So you tell your doctor, let your doctor know precisely how your blood sugar has been crashing as you transition into this anti-diabetic diet. Okay, the 10-point agenda. We have looked at just 2 out of the 10, and even those 2 will go a long way in making a huge positive difference in your blood sugar management. If you rethink your options, you rethink your beliefs, and you have what we call neuro-programming. And then you implement the breakfast options that we have suggested, you implement the lunch options and the supper options, and then we will talk about the snacks option, things you can snack on this plan. We are still on the number 2 point, work on your diet. So let me emphasize again, always eat a bowl of vegetable salad before you eat your cooked food. Don't skip that. Some people skip it. They don't have the time to make the salad, or they don't have the patience to settle down and chew and chew and chew. If you don't have that patience, just put your salad in your blender, add a little water, blend it, and drink it. It's called blended salad. Okay? Make sure you don't skip that. There is a reason that we introduced the vegetable salad before your cooked food. You see, the vegetable salad, number 1, is a rainbow food. It has a cross-section of different pigments and colors, that help in many ways. It's also very loaded with fiber, and that fiber is going to help to control your sugar uptake so you don't have any sugar spike. It makes your sugar uptake into your bloodstream to be slow and gradual, so you never have your blood sugar rising too much at any point in time. Okay? That's why the vegetable salad is important. It also has a lot of fiber to help your regularity, your regular bowel movement. So it plays a beautiful and very strategic role in the whole scheme of things. Don't skip it. Always eat that bowl of salad. Now we're going to be talking to you about what goes into your salad on the one hand, and then we'll be talking to you about the kind of salad dressings that you use in that salad. Then we move on to some other things today as we continue in the discussion on key number 2, which is working on your diet. So Dr. Mel, over to you right now. What should go into the salad, the vegetable salad, not fruit salad? Again, let me make the distinction. Some people don't seem to know the difference between fruits and vegetables. Somebody is eating a lot of cabbage, a lot of cucumber, a lot of, different vegetables like lettuce and what have you, a lot of fruits. And I say, name the fruit you are eating. And he says cabbage, cauliflower. And I said, that's not fruit. Those are vegetables. And then some people are eating fruits and they tell you they are eating vegetables. You need to make that distinction. Fruits are generally sweet. You shouldn't specialize on fruits. You should specialize on vegetables. Avocado, pear, cauliflower, broccoli. Those are good vegetables. Cucumber, zucchini, celery, parsley, maybe parsley will qualify for a herb, spinach, and so what should go into the salad of someone who wants to reverse diabetes or is concerned about sugar management?
So let's talk about vegetable salad. Mm-hmm. First of all, I would always say you should go big on the greens. The greens are your green leafy vegetables, so spinach, kale, lettuce, cabbage, both the green cabbage and the purple cabbage. Those are examples of greens. You can have the cauliflower, broccoli, the cucumbers. There are different types of cucumbers. There are different other vegetables in the cucumber family, like the zucchini, the marrow, the baby marrow, all of them. You can go to town with a lot of those green vegetables. Right. Then you want to add a bit of color to your vegetable salad. So if you are trying to control diabetes or your blood sugar, you might not want to go very big on the very sweet vegetables like carrots, beetroots. Of course, you can still add them because you need the nutrients in them, but not too much. They shouldn't form the bulk. They should only add a bit of color and a bit of taste to your salad. You can add the peppers. They're very fantastic, especially for those who are trying to repair their blood vessels.
Particularly the bell peppers?
Yes, the bell peppers. The green, red, yellow, orange. I'm not aware of any other colors.
In the pepper group,
Those are the colors, but the vegetables in the pepper
and they're not
group,
very spicy, by the way. They're not hot, so you can.
Sweet.
It doesn't pepper you.
Yes. But if you're Yoruba like me.
But I thought you said you would have loved to be born Italian.
They have their hot.
Even in Italian meals, okay.
Right. So we've done the peppers. You can add onions. They are different. You can add both the onion leaf or the herb. You can add spring onions. You can add red onions. You can add white onions, depending on the onions that you want. In summary, just go to town with vegetables available. So these vegetables are vegetables available to us here. We also have things like celery that you can add to improve the taste. You can add a bit of herbs here and there, just to also improve the taste, like parsley, coriander, basil, and all of them, just to improve the taste or to change up the taste.
Right.
Now, this list does not mean that every time you're making a salad, everything must go in. It just gives you a variety of things that you can use to mix up your salad. So maybe day one, you might do cucumber, lettuce, a bit of cabbage, and some avocado as your salad for that day. Another day, you can do a bit of carrot, a bit of cabbage, a bit of celery leaf, and a couple of other things. Yes. Then for your vegetable salad, especially if you're eating maybe your supper, it's 100% vegetable. You want it to be a balanced diet. So you want to add a bit of other nutrients to it.
Right.
So you can add things like cashew nuts.
Right. I love cashew nuts in my salad, by the way.
Almonds, and
sunflower
seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds.
Right.
All of those, just to improve.
What's about like a teaspoonful of raisins? Would that be enough? Would that be good enough for diabetics?
If
especially
you're just starting out, no.
Right.
But if you've gotten a measure of control, yes, you can add a bit of.
It adds that kind of sweetness flavor to it for those who have already successfully controlled their blood sugar. Yes. But those who are just starting out, stay away from raisins for now. Right.
So I think that's about it. Of course, if you go online, you see a lot of a host of different ways to combine your vegetables. You just need to understand what is a vegetable, what is a fruit, and why you're putting what in your meal. So I think the Mexicans have the salsa, and their salsa contains some fruit. So that's different from the vegetable salad we're talking about now. Because you might go online and see the salsa and say, oh, but this is supposed to be a salad. No. Yes.
Okay.
Then for your salad dressings,
right,
you can go to town with your salad dressing. So I think the simplest salad dressing would be a teaspoon or a tablespoonful of lemon juice, tablespoonful of olive oil, a bit of salt and black pepper. That's like a basic dressing. Anybody can do that.
Right.
But if you want to spice up the flavors a bit, or you want that creaminess, you can go to town with things like avocado. You can blend avocado with a bit of olive oil, a bit of salt and pepper, a bit of honey, if you can add honey or any other sweetener, salt, lemon juice. You just blend and a bit of garlic. You blend everything together
and use it as your dressing.
That kind of blend can last for about a week.
In the fridge?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, can you also, is there any store-bought dressing that is acceptable? Okay.
Yes. So, of course, if you are busy, like we Lagosians, you can decide to go for store-bought options. And we prefer the vegetarian-based options. That is those that use strictly vegetables to make.
No cow milk inside, no eggs inside.
Everything
like they
is
use
plant-based.
Oil.
Yes, they use
olive
just
oil, flaxseed oil, and grapeseed oil.
You can even make some at home if you have time, but if you do not have, we have the vegginess.
Vegginess, which is a vegetarian form of mayonnaise. Okay.
Yes. But then there are other salad dressings from very good reputable companies where they make different dressings. Some are avocado oil based, some are based on olive oil, some are different things, very fantastic, different mixtures, honey mustard.
Right.
And also, you just look out for them, make sure they're non-GMO, they're organic, and they don't contain preservatives and all.
Right. Now, for me, sometimes just one single oil, as long as I have a variety of very, flavorful and tasty ingredients. Once I have my cashew nut in there, I have my avocado there, I have my sunflower seed, I have my pumpkin seed. I am not diabetic, so I do add a tablespoonful of raisins to sweeten it. Once I have all of those in there, in addition to the vegetables, the cabbage, the carrots, the cucumber, the lettuce, the whatever, once I have all of those, I just add 2 tablespoonfuls of coconut oil, and that's enough for me. Sometimes extra virgin olive oil, and that's enough for me. And it goes very well. Now, let's talk about the timing of eating, whether for the diabetic or for the general public. When should they eat breakfast? When should they eat lunch? And when is the latest time for supper to make sure that you don't upset things?
Well, for breakfast, I would say anytime from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is a good time to have your breakfast.
Before 9?
You can do before, depending on your program.
Work
you can
schedule?
Do before 9, your work schedule. But I would say, why not have maybe like a cup of green tea first or water to help detoxify before you have something to eat.
Right. And we have already discussed the breakfast options. We are not talking of eba, amala, pounded yam and rice in the morning. We're talking about the soaked oats, the raw cocoa keto smoothie, and the rest of them.
Then for lunch, anytime from 1 o'clock, it's about 1 o'clock is fine for lunch, so that by the time it's 5, 6, you're hungry enough to have your supper. Because some people will say, I had my lunch at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
How will I have my supper at 6? I'm not yet hungry.
Yeah.
So if I want to move your lunch a bit earlier, it's about 1 or 2 is fine.
Right.
And then you have your supper between 5 and 6. The idea is that by 7 o'clock, you're done eating the food. It's not that you're just putting your food
on fire.
On fire
at 7 o'clock. Right. Now, what about those who want to incorporate intermittent fasting? So first of all, what is intermittent fasting? And then those who want to incorporate intermittent fasting.
So intermittent fasting just means you are fasting from food for an extended period of time. Usually they have different time ratios. They have the 24 ratio where you're eating within the space of 4 hours and you're fasting for 20 hours. We have the 16:8 ratio. We have the 18:6 ratio. Yeah. So depending on the ratio that you're after, of course, the smaller number is the period of time in which you're allowed to eat. So let's take, for example, the 18:6 ratio. So the 18:6 ratio means that for 18 hours out of 24 hours, I won't be eating anything. And everything I want to eat for the day, has to be squeezed into
within 6 hours. So let's say between
12 and 6
or between 11 a.m.
and 5. Yes.
After
So
that, the rest you can drink
water, just water, or maybe green tea. Bland green tea. Yeah.
Right.
So let's say you can have your breakfast at 11. You have your lunch at about 1, and by 5 o'clock you're having your supper.
And that's it. Yes. Now, what about those who are experiencing hypoglycemia? Will that be a good idea to go on for 18 hours with nothing?
Yes, actually.
Those with hypoglycemia.
So if you're having hypoglycemia, that's it means that you might need to modify your medications, because ideally you shouldn't just dip into hypoglycemia like just like that. So I mean, we've talked about the causes of hypoglycemia. So you might want to check some of those causes first of all. Maybe if you know that your last meal is at 5 o'clock and you're on insulin, for example, you're not going to use your last insulin injection at 7 p.m. No, you might want to move it up to about 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So that the timing coincides with your last meal.
Right.
For example. Yeah. Or you want to discuss with your physician to see how they can reduce your dose so that you can accommodate that period of fasting. Yes.
So we want to also emphasize again, for your breakfast, we recommend the completely raw breakfast. For lunch, 50% raw food in form of vegetable salad, and then the remaining 50% your cooked food, like a 2-course meal, so to speak. And then your supper is also either 100% raw vegetables if you are trying to lose weight, if you are obese or overweight. If you are not obese or overweight, then eat like 70% vegetable salad, 30% cooked food. Okay, if you are underweight and you want to gain weight, then you add a little bit of protein powder to your smoothie in the morning. We're going to come to that later. And then when we go on this short break and come back, we'll be talking about snacks options for your snacks on this anti-diabetic diet. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly. You can actually reverse diabetes. When you understand diabetes, you understand what it is, you understand how it happens, the risk factors, the causes, and the complications that it can give rise to. Those who already have it, to start putting measures in place to reverse it, or at the very least, to control it. My daughter is a medical doctor and I am a nutritionist. We co-authored Defeating Diabetes Naturally. You'll find it on Amazon.com, and you can also buy hard copies from our bookshop, the Shepherd Stores Limited, on number 18 Shogunde Street, Abule Onibagbo, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome back to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription is knowledge. That's why we are disseminating information and bringing you loads and loads of knowledge regarding how to defeat diabetes naturally. We're talking about the second point on our 10-point agenda. The first point being neuroprogramming, or rethinking your beliefs. The second point is to work on diet. And you see, this diet thing is a major and strategic factor. That's why we have spent several episodes. This is about the third or fourth episode that we are spending to break it down so that you don't miss anything here. Again, the disclaimer here is that this is for educational and informational purposes only. If you choose to use the information we are providing, you are free to do so. It's your human right. It's also your constitutional right. But then, you must be willing to accept responsibility for the outcomes. But from our own experience, we have found that those who use this kind of information and follow this kind of plan actually do get their blood sugar under control without struggle. All right, I counsel with diabetics very regularly, and of course, I have seen many who have been able to bring this under control utilizing this plan. Now, we have talked about breakfast options, we have talked about lunch and supper options, we've talked about what goes into the vegetable salad, we've talked about salad dressings. Now, we discourage most store-bought salad dressings like mayonnaise and various other brands out there. You can make your own salad dressing at home, although there are a few store-bought salad dressings that are equally acceptable. Now, we'll be talking a little bit about snacks. If you're on this 10-point agenda, are snacks allowed? Are snacks encouraged generally? And if so, what are the options available for snacking? Of course, snacks represent what you eat between your main meals. Between breakfast and lunch, between lunch and supper, what do you snack on? So Dr. Mel will be taking us on your thoughts on snacking generally, and if it is acceptable, what are the options available?
Well, for snacking, generally, I try to discourage it because, well, many factors. The idea is to keep the amount of your food intake, to limit your food intake, first of all.
Right.
To limit your caloric intake, to limit your carbohydrates or your carb intake, especially if you're trying to control cravings and other things like that, yes. So I generally discourage snacking, but I also understand that there are times when you're probably hungry in between meals. It's not yet time to have your next meal, or your next meal is not yet ready, and you need something to keep the energy going. So there are healthy snack options and unhealthy or unrecommended snack options. Of course, unrecommended snacks would be donuts, ice cream,
meat pies,
sausage roll, and yes, the likes. But healthy snack options would generally include raw foods or raw fruits, or nuts or seeds. So you can make your own trail mix, for example, add a bit of seeds like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds and all, and add a bit of cashew nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachios and all. You can make your own trail mix and put in the fridge a bunch of it and snack on it per time. Or you could have maybe a few of strawberries, which is low carb, it has very low glycemic index. Or you could have like half an avocado, not a whole avocado, half an avocado, because it's actually high in calories.
Right. It's good fat.
Yes, it's good fat though, but it's a snack, it's not a meal. So half an avocado. And you should only take it when you're feeling hungry. If you feel you're hungry in between meals, not that every time I must have snacks. Another thing will be to plan your snacks ahead so that the hunger does not meet you, does not catch you unawares. Takes control over you. Okay. So until you've gained so much discipline, plan snacks. I don't eat it, just plan it. Like when I'm going to work, I take snacks, even though half the time I don't eat the snacks, I bring it back home, but I still take the snacks just in case.
Okay, so you're not tempted.
Yes.
To reach out for what you shouldn't, eat. You make some, and sometimes there is this psychological side of it. The fact that you know that there is something you can snack on. It doesn't get you agitated. You don't feel abandoned, So you know that something is there. If I need it, I can reach out. So it calms you down psychologically. All right. Okay, good. Now we're going to migrate to, we talked about some lunch and supper cooked food options in the previous episode before this. Now, there are others we did not demonstrate, but I want us to describe. We may not do a demo for them, but we just describe other cooked food options, how to prepare them. If I am not going to be taking the Nigerian type of swallows, like cabbage fufu, like aubergine amala, like the swallow from almond flour, coconut flour, and psyllium husk. Now, what are the other cooked food options that are very low glycemic foods that I can also take? And how do I prepare them?
Yeah, so what he's trying to say is, if you're in my generation...
Because my generation in Nigeria, we are the ones that go for the swallows. You know, but her generation, they have other options. So
yes.
go ahead.
We have a lot of options.
Of course, my generation can also enjoy
yes,
you know, those ones. Yeah. So at least you have a variety and you're not bored, you know.
So let's start with the stir fry. So how you prepare your vegetables, because we talked about how to properly prepare your food. So we have different stir fry vegetables or vegetable mixes you can have. You can lightly saute a combination of vegetables. So some of the things I use are broccoli, cauliflower, marrow. Sometimes I add aubergine. You add a bit of mushrooms, onions, some peppers. Any vegetable really that you have in your bell peppers, yes. Right. Any vegetable that you have in your fridge, basically, you can add to it. The idea is to lightly saute, just to make it a bit softer and infuse a bit of flavor into it. So you can use...
And then the oil also that you use actually helps the absorption of certain nutrients that are fat soluble. Okay.
So you can use any oil that agrees with you, any good oil that agrees with you. So
thanks
some people
for qualifying that.
Some people want the coconutty flavor. You can use coconut oil. I prefer olive oil because I feel by the time you saute it, it has a nice taste to it. You can use butter if you are the type that likes the buttery flavor. You could use avocado oil if that is okay with you. So you just put a little bit in your sauteing pan. You add the vegetables and you toss them about. Add a bit of either Himalayan salt or sea salt, a bit of spices depending on the spice level that you want. You can do black pepper or any of that. You can just chop them up and add them. You lightly saute for about 5 to 7 minutes maximum. It's not supposed to cook like you're making an actual meal, just to saute it. If you don't have the time to do that, because sometimes you don't have the time to do that, you want to make a large batch, I just lay it on a pan and allow the oven to do 30 minutes max. The batch is done and I just pack it in.
What temperature range?
I think I put it about between 200 thereabouts degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Yes, just to, and then he also gives it a slight
make it chewy.
Just make it nice and chewy. So it's still a bit chewy. It's not too soft, but it's cooked and the flavor is infused.
Yeah, and it really tastes very nice and very filling too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you just steam it if you don't want to do that stress. You put it in the steamer and you steam it for about 10 minutes max, and your vegetables are ready. So that will form like a large chunk of the meal that you want to have. Would
you still need to take a vegetable salad before this particular one?
Since you still need something raw. Yes, you still need something raw.
A little bit of raw vegetable salad before you eat the cooked portion. Okay, yeah.
Then we have cauliflower rice. For those that really love to eat rice.
How do you make that?
Very simple. You just take your cauliflower, you wash it very well. You can use different things to clean your vegetables. I'm sure there's an episode on preparing vegetables properly. So you clean up the cauliflower, you chop it up into smaller chunks, and you pour it into your food processor and just pulse it till it forms like
grains of rice.
Yes. Right. Then you pour it into your pan or your pan, and you put it on. If you don't have an oven, you can just put it on fire and lightly toss it about for it to heat up a bit.
Some people add a little bit of olive oil too.
Yes, some people add olive oil. Yeah. It depends. I would add olive oil if I'm putting it in the oven. Okay. But if I'm putting it directly on direct heat and I'm tossing it about, I don't think it's very necessary. Yes. Okay. Because it helps it gives you a blank check to add whatever flavors to it. So you can use the cauliflower for jollof rice, fried rice, coconut rice, whatever type of rice option you want. That's for the cauliflower rice. Then we have the pumpkin pottage.
That's another type of cooked food.
So instead of yam pottage or potato pottage, you can also do pumpkin pottage. So you're just using pumpkin instead of...
What type of pumpkin now? Because in Nigeria we have the pumpkin that the seed is used as pumpkin seed for ogbono. And then we have the one that is popular all over the world.
I don't know the type. I don't know the name of the type. I just know it's orange.
Orange colored, on the out. Even the inside too is orange color, right? And you can use that instead of your yam or your plantain or your sweet potato or Irish potato to make your pottage. Right. So you cook it and add.
You just make your pepper sauce the way you do for your yam pottage and add it. Usually it doesn't take long to cook. So I cook it for about 12 minutes. I set the timer for about 12 minutes, and then I just leave it covered to steam for another 5 minutes.
Right.
And it's soft enough for you to
just dish it, and then that's fine. Okay, good. Yes. Then any other
yes,
option?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can spiralize like marrow, for example. You can spiralize marrow. You can spiralize butternut squash.
Right.
And you just add your condiments and vegetables, and your pasta is ready.
You can see the options are almost.
And it's very cheap, actually.
Yeah, cheap,
ridiculously cheap,
affordable. In fact, the aubergine that we made the other time, how much did we buy? A pack of 3 of the aubergine the other time.
I don't think it was up to 1,000 now.
No, it was about 360 naira. For 3. It's like less than 150, less than 120 naira per unit, 120 naira. I use just 2 of that to make the amala when I want to eat it. So it's like, that's like 40 to 50 naira, 250 naira. That makes my amala. And I only need to, if I think of the psyllium husk I'm going to add, which is just a teaspoonful of psyllium husk. It's still about less than 300 naira.
Yes.
And my amala is ready. I just put the soup. And people say healthy living is expensive.
It's not expensive.
Well, in certain ways it is not. If you know how to, and you can also grow some of these things in your compound. You can buy the seed of aubergine and grow it in your backyard. And it will serve you well. In fact, maybe cheaper than the other food types that you buy. The gari, the elubo, and the different things you buy. It's far cheaper when you grow it. Then fermented foods can also,
we also have fermented foods,
play some role.
Kimchi, sauerkraut. And so sauerkraut is quite easy. You just put a bit of Himalayan salt or sea salt in water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you chop up your cabbage. Is filled. You cover it on your tabletop for a few days till it ferments.
Once it ferments, it becomes fermented food. High in probiotics.
Probiotics, yes. Very good for digestion, your gut health.
Right.
And heals.
How do you use it?
Because
it could be very, very sour and tangy.
I like sour food, so I don't mind taking it directly.
Yeah, some people just pick a bit and they just chew, or you can just add it to your salad. Or add it to your smoothie and blend it in.
Yes.
And so you have your probiotics right in there. And then we go to the medium calorie cooked food options. We talked about the very low calorie ones. Now the medium calorie ones, for those who already have their blood sugar fully under control and they just want to graduate to something of higher glycemic index, what are the options available?
So we have the legumes, we have the grains, we have some tubers.
Right.
So we'll start with the legumes, which are beans.
Right.
Everything in the category of beans. So we have different types of
beans,
different
including
species.
lentils.
And we have lentils.
Right.
We have chickpeas.
Right.
These are all high protein, relatively low carb.
Right.
And they are very, very tasty, very, very
if you are very creative with how to prepare them.
You can go to town with a whole lot of this, but of course, nothing fried, remember. Then for the tubers, we have sweet potatoes, which is very low in, it's sweet, quite all right, but the amount of carbs in it is quite low, even compared to yam and Irish.
And it has a lot of fiber too.
Yes, and a lot
of
fiber.
Cultural correlation. You find out that some of the, particularly the purple sweet potatoes, they are shaped like the pancreas.
Well, yes, true.
So some have posited that it actually suggests that it helps the pancreas in insulin production too.
And it's very sweet and tasty. You can bake it, you can steam it, you can boil it.
I like it baked, really. When you slice it open with the skin and then you add some butter to it. Wow, your life will not remain the same. Examples of some grains.
Grains, we have quinoa, we have oats, we have barley, we have millet, sorghum, rye, brown rice, spells, wild rice, amaranth. Many. And you can make some of them into porridge. Yes.
You can make some of them into flour to bake your pastries.
Bread,
and have cookies,
almonds,
and have breads,
baked donuts.
All kinds of wonderful things you can do.
Yes.
Now, I tasted this bread that you brought home the other day, which is made from chia seeds and almonds. Chia and almond. And it was made into bread and sliced bread for that matter. And we made sandwich out of it. Wow.
It was very lovely.
Very lovely and low glycemic. So it's not as if we're saying don't eat bread. We're saying don't eat white
flour bread.
Made from wheat products. But there are other grains that can be made into whole grains that is not refined. Made into flour and mixed multi-grain loaves. And you can use it the same way with your white bread and what have you.
There's even the Ezekiel 4:9 recipe.
Ezekiel 4:9 recipe, yeah, that's right. If you look at the Bible, you see Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 9. There is a list of grains and legumes that are listed there, directly given by God to the prophet Ezekiel. So use these grains, blend them together, and make flour out of it, and bake your bread with it. I mean, if God gives you a recipe, you can be sure that that is a winner any day. You can try the Ezekiel 4:9 recipe, Ezekiel chapter 4, verse number 9. That's a recipe that will be a winner any day. Okay. We have been told that our time is up. In fact, we have overshot. But I do believe that this second point has been well dealt with. Work on your diet. Out of our 10-point agenda. Number 1, rethink your beliefs. What you believe about diabetes and the fact that it can be reversed, it can be prevented. Change your belief system to believe correctly. And then start working on your diet. Work on your breakfast. Work on your lunch, work on your supper, and work on your snacks, okay? Work on your timetable, when you eat and when you don't eat. Learn the things you must not eat. Learn the things that are very useful for you that will help you in winning this battle. Once you master these 2, you have laid the foundation. The remaining 8 points that are coming in subsequent episodes will just be like the icing on the cake. You are building on this foundation, the substructure. What is coming is just the superstructure. Thank you once again for your time with us on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget that what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription is knowledge. To be informed is to be transformed. And to be uninformed is to be deformed. We believe that the information you have been receiving have been very, very helpful. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time on this same platform, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. And of course, you can go back and watch all the previous episodes. Now, particularly if you know people who are dealing with diabetes, tell them to go back on YouTube and search out our YouTube channel and start watching it from episode 1 to episode 2 to 3 to 4 before our next episode, so they can join us 8 p.m. Nigerian time. And once they are equipped and armed with information, everybody can defeat diabetes to the glory of God, particularly diabetes type 2. Thank you. Have a beautiful evening and a wonderful week ahead of you. Bye-bye and God bless. Actually reverse diabetes. When you understand diabetes, you understand what it is, you understand how it happens, the risk factors, the causes, and the complications that it can give rise to. Those who already have it, to start putting measures in place to reverse it, or at the very least to control it. My daughter is a medical doctor and I am a nutritionist. We co-authored Defeating Diabetes Naturally. You'll find it on Amazon.com, and you can also buy hard copies from our bookshop, the Shepherd Stores Limited, number 18 Shogunde Street, Abule Onibagbo, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria.